Do you feel sick after food, heat, stress, or nothing at all? This isn't random. Stay with me. Because when your body reacts to everything, and I mean food, stress, heat, smells, exercise, even emotions, that's not bad luck. That's not you being dramatic, and it's definitely not all in your head. That's often where MCAS, Mast Cell Activation Syndrome, comes in. MCAS is one of those conditions people usually stumble into by accident, not because it's rare, but because it's hard to recognize. It doesn't show up as one big, obvious symptom, it shows up as dozens of smaller ones that seem unrelated. And that's why so many people spend years bouncing between specialists without answers. Let's break this down in plain English. What actually is MCAS? Mast cells are part of your immune system. They're supposed to protect you. When there's a real threat, they release chemicals like histamine to help your body respond. In MCAS, those mast cells get a little unhinged. They release histamine and other inflammatory chemicals when they shouldn't, sometimes constantly, sometimes in flares, sometimes in ways that make no logical sense. That's why the symptoms feel random, because they kind of are. Skin symptoms people often ignore, and this is usually where things start. Random flushing, sudden redness, hives that appear and disappear, itching without a rash, skin feeling hot for no reason. You didn't change soap, you didn't eat anything unusual, you didn't use a new detergent, yet your skin reacts like it's under attack. That's mast cells firing off chemicals even though nothing dangerous is happening. Gut symptoms that never fully add up. MCAS loves the digestive system. Bloating after meals, cramping, diarrhea, nausea, feeling awful after eating, but every food seems to be a different problem. One day gluten is fine, next day it's not. Leftovers suddenly cause issues. Foods that were safe last week aren't safe today. This isn't you being picky. Mast cells live all throughout the gut. When they activate, digestion becomes unpredictable. If antihistamines help your symptoms, even partially, that's a big clue. Why heart and circulation symptoms that feel scary? This part freaks people out. Sudden heart racing, feeling lightheaded when standing, weakness or shakiness, feeling like you might faint but you don't. A lot of people get told this is anxiety or panic, but MCAS can cause blood pressure changes and heart rate swings because histamine affects blood vessels. You can feel anxious because of the physical reaction, not the other way around. Brain and nervous system symptoms. This is where people really start questioning themselves. Brain fog, trouble concentrating, memory issues, sudden anxiety that feels chemical, not emotional, feeling wired and exhausted at the same time. You're not lazy, you're not unmotivated, and you're not imagining it. Inflammatory chemicals released by mast cells can affect the brain directly. That "I don't feel like myself anymore" feeling, very common with MCAS. Breathing and sinus symptoms. Chest tightness, shortness of breath, constant congestion, post-nasal drip that never seems to stop, but allergy tests come back normal. Asthma inhalers don't fully help. That's because this isn't classic allergy, it's mast cell activation. Why antihistamines are such a big clue. Here's something most people overlook. If antihistamines help your symptoms, even partially, that's not random. Antihistamines don't fix anxiety, they don't fix IBS, they don't fix stress, they block histamine. So if Claritin, Zyrtec, or Benadryl takes the edge off your symptoms, that tells you histamine is involved somewhere, and histamine doesn't release itself. Why MCAS is often missed. MCAS doesn't belong to one medical specialty. Dermatology sees skin, gastroenterology sees gut, cardiology sees heart, psychiatry sees anxiety. No one is trained to connect all of it together. On top of that, symptoms come and go. Tests are often normal, so people start doubting themselves. Please don't. Patterns matter more than single symptoms. Common triggers people notice. People with MCAS often notice flares after certain foods, alcohol, heat or cold, stress, exercise, hormonal changes, strong smells or chemicals. Sometimes the trigger is obvious. Sometimes there is no clear trigger at all. That unpredictability is one of the biggest red flags. Important reality check. MCAS is real, but it's complex. This isn't about self-diagnosing from one video. It's about recognizing a pattern that explains years of confusion. If this feels uncomfortably familiar, it may be worth discussing with a healthcare provider who understands mast cell disorders. Knowledge doesn't create problems, it creates direction. If you're watching this and thinking, "This explains way too much," you're not alone. That moment of recognition is how most people start connecting the dots. Quick question for you before you go. Do your symptoms feel random, or do antihistamines noticeably help? Drop a comment. Someone else scrolling might finally feel seen. If this helped you make sense of your body, save it. This is the kind of information people forget until they need it again. And if you know someone who's always randomly unwell, share this with them. It might give them answers they've been missing for years. Like and subscribe for more straight talk health explanations without the medical fluff.